Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into positive affirmations.
Oh, fun.
But not just like the fluffy feel-good stuff,
Yeah, right.
We're really looking at how they can be a practical tool when you're like going through a career change or you're starting a new job.
I think that's so important because, especially when you're making a big transition, it's so easy to kind of get in your own head.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so much research now about the power of self-talk
Yeah.
and how the way we talk to ourselves
Mhm.
really does impact our outcomes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we often talk to ourselves in ways that we would never talk to someone we love.
Totally.
Like, can you imagine saying to your best friend, like, oh, you're not good enough?
Yeah.
Or you'll never get that job, or whatever it is.
Right, you would never.
You would never.
Yeah.
But we do that to ourselves all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And so this deep dive is really about how can we shift that inner dialogue to be more supportive and more empowering.
And, it's like that whole thing about for every negative thought you have, it takes 3 positive ones to kind of counteract that negativity.
Oh, wow.
So you really have to be intentional about what you're feeding your mind.
It's like you're making deposits into your mental bank account.
Exactly. What are you putting in there?
I love that analogy.
Right. Are you putting in doubt and fear? Or are you putting in confidence and belief?
It really makes you think.
Right.
So for this deep dive, we're using an article from jkcp.com called 12 Positive Affirmations to Use When Making a Career Change.
Okay, great.
And it was just published this month, so the advice is super fresh.
Perfect.
So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
The article starts by kind of grouping these affirmations into themes, which I thought was really helpful. And the first one is all about affirmations for boosting your confidence.
Love it.
So when you're making a career change or you're starting something new, it's so easy to feel uncertain or insecure.
Right.
So these affirmations are really about kind of bolstering that inner belief.
Okay, so what would be an example of one of those?
Well, the first one that they list is, I am creating my dream career.
Ooh, I like that.
It's
very powerful. It is powerful. And it reminds me of that quote, if you build it, they will come.
Oh,
I love it.
like you're putting that energy out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about taking ownership of your career trajectory, right?
Totally.
Instead of just waiting for things to happen to you, you're actively creating the career that you want.
So how do you do that? Like, how do you actually go from dreaming to building?
Well, I think it starts with visualization, right?
Right.
Really taking the time to imagine yourself in that dream role. What does it feel like? What are you doing? Who are you working with?
I like that.
And then from there, it's about taking small, consistent actions towards that vision.
So what could be some examples of those small actions?
Well, it could be something as simple as updating your resume,
Okay.
or researching companies that you admire, or even just brainstorming a list of your ideal job responsibilities. It's about shifting your mindset from I wish to I am.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Okay, so another affirmation from this confidence boosting category is, I deserve to be happy in my career.
That's a big one.
It is a big one.
I think sometimes we feel like we're not supposed to prioritize our own happiness when it comes to work.
Yeah.
We think we should just be grateful for any job that pays the bills.
And sock it up.
Right. But this affirmation is a reminder that you deserve to find work that brings you joy and aligns with your values.
Absolutely.
And it's not selfish to want that.
So how do you figure out what would actually make you happy in your career?
That's a good question. I think it starts with getting really honest with yourself about what energizes you.
Okay.
What are you naturally drawn to? What are your passions and interests? And how could those translate into a professional setting?
It's like turning your hobbies into a career.
Exactly.
Which sounds amazing.
All right.
Okay, so let's move on to another confidence booster. I have confidence and believe in myself.
I love
It's short and sweet, but it's powerful.
it. Is powerful. And it's a reminder to acknowledge your strengths and accomplishments.
Right.
We tend to focus so much on our perceived shortcomings that we forget to celebrate our wins.
Yeah, it's like we need to give ourselves permission to be confident.
Exactly.
But sometimes it's hard to shake those feelings of self-doubt.
Yeah, I get it.
So what do you do when you're feeling that way?
One thing that I found really helpful is to keep a success journal.
Ooh, tell me more.
Yeah, so it's basically just a notebook where you write down your accomplishments, big and small.
Oh, okay.
It could be anything from completing a challenging project at work to, getting through a tough day.
Right, just acknowledging those wins.
Exactly, because it's so easy to forget about all the amazing things we've done.
Especially when you're in the midst of a job search or a career change,
Yeah.
you can feel like you're not doing enough.
Totally. And having that visual reminder of your accomplishments can be a really powerful way to boost your self-belief.
I love that idea. I'm going to start doing that.
I think you should. It's really helpful.
Okay, next up is an affirmation that's all about pushing past limitations
Yeah.
and embracing your potential. My potential is limitless.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right? It's like saying, I'm capable of more than I even realize.
Exactly. And, sometimes we put these limits on ourselves
We do.
without even realizing it.
Like those self-limiting beliefs.
Right. And this affirmation is about challenging those beliefs and stepping into a space of possibility.
So how do you do that? How do you actually start to embrace this idea of limitless potential?
Well, I think it starts with thinking about a time when you surprised yourself
Okay.
by achieving something you didn't think you could do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did that experience teach you about your own capabilities?
That's such a good point. We often underestimate ourselves.
We do. And when we start to believe in our limitless potential, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of opportunities.
Okay, I love that. So this next affirmation is a bit different, but I think it's so important, especially in today's world, where we're constantly comparing ourselves to others.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I release the tendency to compare,
That is so important.
because comparison is truly the thief of joy.
It really is.
It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing, especially on social media.
Oh, yeah.
You see all these perfect lives and perfect careers, and it can make you feel like you're not enough.
Totally. And this affirmation is a reminder to focus on your own journey
Right.
and to celebrate your own unique path.
Instead of comparing yourself to others, what are some things you can appreciate about your own skills and experiences and accomplishments?
That's a great reframing.
Because it's so easy to focus on what we lack rather than what we have.
Yeah. And when you start to appreciate your own unique strength, you'll naturally feel more confident and fulfilled.
Okay, so we've talked about a few affirmations for boosting confidence, but now I want to move on to another important category, which is affirmations for overcoming challenges. Because let's be real, career changes and new jobs come with their fair share of obstacles.
They do.
So how can we use affirmations to stay resilient and keep moving forward, even when things get tough?
That's what we're going to find out.
One that really stands out to me is every day is a learning opportunity.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, because it's so easy to get caught up in the idea of failure.
Uh-huh.
But if we can shift our perspective to see challenges as opportunities for growth,
Right.
then it takes some of the pressure off.
It does. And, it's all about reframing those mistakes as valuable lessons.
Yeah.
They're not failures. They're feedback.
Right.
They're helping you learn and grow.
And it's like that whole growth mindset thing, right?
Exactly.
Like embracing the idea
Right.
that you're constantly evolving and that challenges are a part of that process.
Right. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to learn and grow.
And have you ever made a mistake that turned out to be a blessing in disguise?
Oh, totally.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so one time I was working on this big presentation and I totally bombed it.
Oh, no.
I know it was awful, but you know what? It taught me so much about public speaking and it helped me develop a much stronger approach.
So it was a learning experience.
It was a huge learning experience and, now I'm actually grateful that it happened.
Wow.
Because it made me a better presenter.
I love that.
Right?
Okay, so speaking of challenges, this next one is all about finding calm amidst the storm. I can find calm during challenging times.
Okay. I need that one.
We all do.
Especially when you're going through a career change, there's so much uncertainty.
There is.
And it can be really stressful.
So this affirmation is about cultivating that inner peace and resilience,
Okay.
knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way.
Like that image of a duck on a pond,
Yes.
gliding along effortlessly, but underneath those little feet are paddling like crazy.
Totally. And that's what this affirmation is about. It's about finding that inner calm even when things are chaotic on the outside.
I love that analogy.
So what are some strategies that you use to find calm when things get tough?
Well, honestly, sometimes just taking a few deep breaths can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but it really works.
It does.
It sends a signal to your nervous system to relax.
Right.
And then other things like meditation, mindfulness exercises, spending time in nature, those can all be really helpful too.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to give yourself permission to step away from the situation for a bit
Absolutely.
and come back to it with fresh eyes.
Okay, before we move on, I think we need to address the elephant in the room,
Okay, what's that?
which is that sometimes these affirmations can feel a little cheesy or even fake,
Right.
especially when you're struggling.
Especially when you're in the midst of it. Yeah.
So how do you make them feel more authentic and less like you're just trying to trick yourself into feeling better.
Well, I think it comes down to a few things.
Right.
First, choose affirmations that genuinely resonate with you. Don't just pick ones because they sound good or because someone else told you they're effective.
Right. It has to be something that you actually believe.
Exactly. It's like finding clothes that fit your style and personality.
I love that.
Second, don't just mindlessly repeat the affirmations.
Okay.
Really try to connect with the meaning behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Visualize yourself embodying the qualities you're affirming.
And lastly, be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
It takes time and consistency to rewire those deep-seated beliefs.
It's not a quick fix.
It's not a magic spell. It's like building a muscle.
Right.
It takes effort over time.
Exactly. So if you're not seeing results overnight, don't get discouraged.
Right.
Just keep practicing and trust that you're making progress, even if it's subtle.
And I think that's a good reminder for us as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into positive affirmations for career changes.
Totally.
We've explored some really powerful affirmations for boosting confidence and overcoming challenges,
We have.
but there's so much more to unpack.
There is.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive into affirmations specifically for starting a new job and navigating the ups and downs of the job search process.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm ready for more.
Me too.
This is great.
I noticed.
I'm learning a lot.
Okay, good.
I'm glad.
Me too.
This is great.
All right, so we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, Cam.
Welcome back. Are you ready for more affirmations?
Oh, I am so ready. Let's dive in.
All right, so we're going to be focusing on starting a new job and also navigating the job search, which can be a roller coaster.
Oh, it can definitely be a wild ride.
So let's start with some affirmations for that exciting but also nerve-wracking experience of starting a new job.
Okay, let's do it.
One that really stands out is, I am excited to learn and grow in this new role.
Ooh, I love that it's like shifting your perspective from fear to possibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of being intimidated by the unknown, you're embracing it as an opportunity to learn and expand your skill set.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself permission to be a beginner again.
Yes, and it takes the pressure off having to know everything right away.
Absolutely. And another one that caught my eye is, I am confident in my ability to contribute to this team.
Oh, that's a good one, especially for combating those imposter syndrome feelings.
Right, because it's so easy to feel like you're not good enough or that you're going to be found out as a fraud.
Totally. But this affirmation is a reminder that you were hired for a reason.
Right, they saw something in you.
Exactly. They saw your skills, your experience, your potential.
So it's about trusting in their judgment and also trusting in yourself.
Yes. And, if you're struggling with those imposter syndrome doubts, one thing that can help is to keep a running list of your accomplishments.
Oh, like a brag file.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything major, just small wins that remind you of your capabilities.
I like that. Okay, so now let's talk about the job search process itself.
Right, let's do it.
Because that can be a whole other beast.
It can be a real grind.
It can. And it's easy to get discouraged, especially if you're facing rejection or feeling like you're not making progress.
Absolutely. So that's where affirmations can be really helpful.
So what are some that can help us stay positive and motivated during the job search?
Well, one that I really like is, I am worthy of my dream job, and I trust that the right opportunity will present itself at the right time.
Ooh, I like that because it's a reminder that your worth isn't tied to a job offer.
Exactly. And that sometimes the timing just isn't right.
Yeah, maybe you're not getting those callbacks right now, but it doesn't mean that you're not talented or qualified.
Right. It just means that it's not the right fit or the right time.
And you know what else I've noticed is that sometimes when you stop looking so hard, that's when the opportunities start to appear.
It's like you're putting less pressure on yourself, and the universe is like, okay, here you go.
Totally. So do you have any advice for people who are struggling to stay positive during a long or challenging job search?
Well, I think it's important to celebrate the small wins along the way.
Oh, yeah. Like
Maybe you landed an interview, even if it wasn't the perfect fit.
okay.
Or you networked with someone new in your field. Or you finally finished updating your resume.
Yeah, those are all wins.
They are. And acknowledging those steps forward can help you stay motivated and feel like you're making progress.
Absolutely. And it's easy to get so caught up in the end goal of landing the job that we forget to appreciate the journey.
Totally.
Okay, so another affirmation that can be helpful during the job search is, I am resilient and determined, and I will not give up on my career goals.
I love that one. It speaks to that grit factor that's so important when facing setbacks.
Right, because let's be real, rejection is a part of the process.
It is, and it's how you handle those setbacks that really matters.
So how can people cultivate that resilience?
Well, I think surrounding yourself with a supportive community is huge.
Okay.
Friends, family, mentors, people who believe in you and can offer encouragement when you need it most.
Yes, because it's so easy to isolate yourself when you're going through something challenging.
It is, but having that support system can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to remember that setbacks are a normal part of the process.
Right? Nobody's career trajectory is a straight line to success.
It's like a winding road with lots of twists and turns.
Exactly. And, those detours can sometimes lead to unexpected opportunities.
Ooh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. So instead of seeing setbacks as failures, reframe them as learning experiences.
I like that.
What did you learn from that interview that didn't pan out?
Right.
How can you apply that knowledge to your next opportunity?
Okay, so we've talked about affirmations for confidence, for overcoming challenges, for starting a new job, and for navigating the job search.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. And the article also mentions affirmations for embracing change, which feels particularly relevant in today's ever-evolving work landscape.
Oh, absolutely. Change is the only constant, right?
It is. So how can we use affirmations to become more comfortable with change and even embrace it?
Well, one affirmation that addresses this head on is I welcome change and trust that it leads to better things.
That's powerful. It's like saying bring it on instead of shrinking back in fear.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective from seeing change as a threat to seeing it as an opportunity for growth.
So how can people cultivate that mindset?
Well, one way is to remind yourself that even if a change feels uncomfortable in the moment, it often leads to something better down the road.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, think back to a time in your life when you went through a major change that initially felt scary but ultimately turned out to be positive.
Hmm. Okay, so for me, it was when I decided to quit my stable but unfulfilling job to pursue freelance work.
Oh, wow, that's a big change.
It was terrifying at first, but it ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made.
I bet it was. So it's a reminder that stepping outside of your comfort zone can lead to amazing things.
Absolutely.
Ah.
Okay, another affirmation for embracing change that really resonated with me is I am adaptable and open to new possibilities.
Oh, that's a good one. It
Ah.
speaks to that growth mindset we talked about earlier.
Right. It's about being willing to learn new skills, explore different paths, and adapt to changing circumstances.
And in today's world where jobs are constantly evolving and new technologies are emerging, adaptability is more important than ever.
It's not just about what you know, but how quickly you can learn and adapt.
Exactly. So how can people build those adaptability muscles?
Well, I think one way is to take on new challenges, whether at work or in your personal life.
Okay, I like that.
It could be anything from learning a new skill to volunteering for a project outside of your comfort zone to even just trying a new hobby.
Yeah, those are all great ideas. It's like cross-training for your brain.
Totally. The more you challenge yourself to learn and adapt, the more confident you'll become in your ability to navigate change.
All right, so we've talked about affirmations for a lot of different aspects of career change.
We have.
But I think it's important to also talk about the importance of authenticity when it comes to affirmations.
Yes. Because if you're just going through the motions and you don't actually believe what you're saying, it's not going to have much impact.
Right. So how do you make these affirmations feel more personal, more you?
That's the key question.
Well, one way is to tailor the wording to fit your specific situation and personality.
Okay.
You don't have to use the exact phrases from the article.
So you can make it your own.
Exactly. Find your own voice within the framework of these positive statements.
I like that. And another way to make affirmations feel more authentic is to connect them to your values.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
So instead of just saying, I am successful, you might say something like, I am using my creativity to make a positive impact on the world, if that aligns with your core values.
I love that it's about infusing those affirmations with personal meaning.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of repetition.
Right. It's like creating a new neural pathway in your brain.
The more you repeat those positive statements, the more ingrained they become.
It's about training your mind to focus on the positive, even when things are tough.
And it's interesting how we've been talking about affirmations primarily in the context of our careers. But I think they can be applied to so many other areas of life too.
Oh, absolutely.
Relationships, health, personal growth affirmations can be a powerful tool for creating positive change in any area where you're seeking improvement.
It's like having a toolbox of positive self-talk that you can draw from whenever you need a boost.
I love that analogy.
Right. And just like any tool, the more you practice using it, the more effective it becomes.
So if you're new to affirmations, don't get discouraged if they feel a bit awkward or unnatural at first.
Yeah, it takes practice.
The more you use them, the more comfortable and powerful they'll become.
And remember, it's about progress, not perfection.
Right.
Don't beat yourself up if you slip up or forget to use your affirmations every day. Just get back on track and keep practicing.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive into positive affirmations.
We've explored affirmations for starting a new job, navigating the job search process, and embracing change.
And we've talked about the importance of authenticity and making these affirmations feel personal and meaningful.
There's one more category of affirmations from the article that we haven't touched on yet,
Ooh.
which
Ooh,
is
yeah.
affirmations for purpose and impact.
Okay, so this is where we connect our career aspirations to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. It's about finding meaning and purpose in our work.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore those powerful affirmations and wrap up this conversation with some inspiring takeaways.
Can't wait.
All right. So we are back for the final part of our deep dive into these positive affirmations.
I'm excited for this one. We're getting into the really juicy stuff now.
I know, me too, all about purpose and impact.
Yeah, it's not just about finding any job, right? It's about finding work that truly aligns with your values and makes a difference in the world.
Exactly. And the JKCP article calls these affirmations for impact.
I like that.
So let's jump right in with some examples. The first one that really stood out to me is, I choose to make a positive impact on this world.
Oh, I love that one. It's so simple, but so powerful.
It is. It's like a declaration of intent.
It is. You're saying, I'm not just here to punch a clock. I'm here to make a difference.
And it makes you think, like, what does positive impact actually look like for you in the context of your career?
Right, because it's going to be different for everyone.
For me, it's about using my creativity to inspire others and maybe challenge the status quo a little bit.
I love that.
But for someone else, it might be about, creating products that solve real problems or advocating for a cause they're passionate about.
Exactly. The key is to connect your work to something that gives it meaning beyond just a paycheck.
Absolutely.
Those-
Okay, so another affirmation in this category that I really like is, I am a vital part of something much bigger than myself.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's like a reminder that we're all interconnected.
Yeah, and that our actions have ripple effects.
Even the small things can make a difference.
Totally. So what do you think of when you hear that affirmation?
Honestly, it makes me feel a sense of belonging, like I'm part of a team, a movement, a community, all working towards a common goal.
I feel that it's like a sense of purpose.
It is, and it can be really motivating, especially on those days when you're feeling discouraged or like your work doesn't matter.
Yeah, because we all have those days, right?
Absolutely. But this affirmation reminds us that even if our individual contribution might seem small, it's still part of something larger and more meaningful.
Okay, so before we wrap things up, I want to hear your thoughts on one more affirmation from this category.
Right.
It's a little more abstract, but I'm intrigued by it. This is my story.
I like that one. It's about taking ownership of your journey.
Yeah, and recognizing that you have the power to shape the narrative.
Exactly. Your career is just one chapter in your larger life story.
So what story do you want to tell?
That's a powerful question. What legacy do you want to leave behind? What impact do you want to have on the world?
And it's not just about what you achieve, right? It's about how you achieve it.
Exactly. It's about the values you embody along the way.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have from confidence-boosting affirmations to those that tap into our purpose and impact.
And we've talked about how to make these affirmations feel more authentic and integrated into your daily life.
So as we wrap things up, I want to challenge our listeners to choose one affirmation that really speaks to them.
Yes, something they want to embody this week.
Write it down, say it out loud, make it a part of your daily routine.
And remember, even if you don't see instant results, keep practicing.
Small, consistent actions over time can lead to amazing transformations.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We hope you feel inspired and empowered to create the career of your dreams, one positive affirmation at a time, and be sure to check out jkcp.com for even more resources and insights. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself.
See you next time.